Today, as usual, we invite you to a deep reflection, starting from a concept that we all use but don't always interpret in the same way: the lead. Well, to be in sync with this concept, a lead is a customer request, it's a solicitation, it's an expression of interest, for example. In other words, it's an event that the professional, the salesperson, will now have to deal with. This lead can be internal, from the dealership, created by operational marketing after a customer qualification, or external, often coming via the web. Fortunately, nowadays, few organizations limit themselves to relating in a cause and effect way the sale to the lead and the lead to the sale. Was the final result due to the lead, or was it the result of the entire competence of that team, those salespeople, the qualification process, the follow-up, the high-quality test drive, or the friendliness and the salesperson's ability to connect with the customer and help them make a decision? Was it the lead, or was it all of these factors? Furthermore, the sale is obviously the desired final result, but many other relevant indicators can and should be worked on during the qualification process and then managed in a structured way. What we are going to analyze are those results that occur after the lead comes in. For example, imagine a customer with whom we already have a past relationship, who already exists in our CRM, bought a car from us about 5 years ago, even regularly visits our service centers, and today this customer sees one of our pre-owned cars advertised on a website and requests information, thus generating a lead. Therefore, what we want now is to know all the value created after, from this perspective, logically, after the lead comes in. Of course, the past and the history of this customer, where the lead will be integrated, is fundamental. Also, let's jump into our analysis and start with the volume. This fictitious team received 3,242 leads in the past 365 days. Naturally, it is possible to change the number of days under analysis, and Campaign D led this volume. It generated 1,253 leads, and therefore all this analysis is fundamental for marketing, as you would expect. In this example, this campaign was actually the one with the greatest difference, even compared to the one that came in second place, which here is Campaign A. Even so, the main indicator we are looking at on this map is the number of new entities created after the lead was received. And we see that in total we created 1,890 new entities, and this once again is a very important point for marketing. We see that Campaign X, for example, turned out to be an excellent source of new entities, of new potential clients. Here I ask a question: are they really potential clients? Whereas Campaign D served predominantly to enhance our value with clients who were already part of our history, and this is also a very important point. Before we move on, it is important to emphasize that this analysis we are doing here with averages, well, it only truly gains value if we drill down into the details of each salesperson and each dealership. In fact, only in this way do the numbers speak to us, and only then do they allow us to activate action plans for the professionals or dealerships that may be dragging down the overall average performance. Now let's move on to another major indicator of the cycle. If we need to acquire, to bring in new clients, we obviously need, in all of these areas, to identify future potential, or rather to identify the business potential for the future in each of these entities. This is the key indicator of qualification. And in this period, this team, we would say, only identified 273. We would say this is a low number. And the question that remains is this: is this team truly aware of the central importance of this activity? Are they prepared to work on this aspect? How do the salespeople approach the phone call with these clients? Is there a script? Is there training? How does leadership address this issue? Is this indicator of future potential analyzed in any meeting? Well, all these questions remain. It is possible to see that the campaign with the most potential future deals identified is Campaign D, but therefore this company still has a long way to go in this area. Let's move on to another very important stage of the cycle: negotiation, that is, the present. What is currently in play, how many deals were initiated after the lead came in. And this fictitious team materialized and structured 582 deals. The campaign with the most deals created was again Campaign D, which led to the creation of 234 deals. Are these enough deals? If not, what is the quality of these leads? How capable are these teams at materializing information after the client qualification? Let's move on to deals closed as sales, losses, and non-deals, because the phenomenon isn't just about sales. As we know, in automotive retail, a salesperson needs several deals to sell a car, and most of them end up either being lost to the competition or eventually postponed. the so-called non-deal. And therefore, 242 deals were closed after the lead entered for that client. And in this analysis, we noticed that the team mostly reports sales, with loss records being almost non-existent. In other words, as I've already mentioned, we know this isn't real, if you'll pardon the redundancy. And of course, if we don't manage or don't know what we've lost, well, our management is deprived of essential information for learning. There are no sales because the salespeople lose their relationship with the clients, and as a result, they don't even know that the clients have bought elsewhere. Or, in general, the salespeople do know that they lost the deal, but they don't record it. They don't feel the need to structure that information, to create a history for those entities, to read those indicators, and so on. And let's jump to a fundamental dimension: individual analysis. So we start by seeing that salesperson A was the one who received the most leads. He received a total of 65 leads. Well, but even so, he didn't achieve fantastic results, which some of his colleagues actually managed to do in this area of identified future potential. He identified only 7. If we compare with salesperson N, who is the benchmark in this skill, they have 42 potential future deals out of 52 leads received. That is, assuming these two salespeople are comparable, although in this case, they are not from the same dealership. Okay, moving on, let's jump to deals. Deals initiated by each salesperson. To make a sale logically, you need to start a negotiation, and salesperson R shows that it is possible. He is the benchmark. He is part of a team, this team D, which has several salespeople who are relatively close to each other among the various members. On the other hand, Team B has salespeople with huge gaps. So what will be the plan for the salespeople on this team, salespeople H, I, and J, to improve and in this way get closer to salesperson F and salesperson G within this same team? Jumping to the last indicator of the cycle, the deals closed, who sold the most? Well, here we have 3 salespeople from the same team with an identical number of sales, and they are also the ones who closed the most deals. It is this team that seems to be getting closer, perhaps, to the truth in management, with more losses, with more missed deals, so they would need to be analyzed. But even so, many other teams, in fact, only record sales, which isn't realistic, and so the leaders of these teams don't manage deals, at least not in a structured way. So this was our analysis using a tool that is designed for marketing, for team leadership, and for the salesperson themselves. Therefore, all our clients have access to this management tool for their high-performance teams. The real value comes when the leader uses this data to reduce performance deviations in each dealership and with each salesperson. We invite you to talk to us and request a personalized demonstration for your team. GAPS is a platform we have designed since 2010, specifically for automotive retail, providing a comprehensive view of sales and services. Let's work together to enhance your company's results through advanced and mindful management. So we look forward to hearing from you and to giving you this 30 to 45-minute demonstration.